at this point, it feels like he's untouchable.
Yeah.
He just and he's gonna call his shot now. I mean, I can't imagine.
He's just like in his own world. He's like, I'm a free agent, and it's like
he was a little drunk. I think at that point he was a little drunk off the notorious whiskey that he made. He's got his own whiskey though.
And then they're asking Dana White like, hey, is he gonna box again? No, he's not gonna box again. And then it's like, is he gonna go into acting? No, he's not gonna go into acting. He's just gonna fight in the UFC. And then it's like Conor's like, I'm a free agent.
Like, I hope.
Who wants to fight me?
Dana's like, I hope. Dana's like, I love what he did, but I want him back in the UFC. But it's going to cost him. I mean, how can you tell him, right? How can you tell Conor, come back, Conor, give you a base purse of $7-10 million, when he just made 30 or 100? How do you get him back to the UFC when he just fought under those terms?
Yeah.
Because it's dangerous to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. It's dangerous to fight Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Those are tough matchups for him. For a third of the money, a fourth of the money?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, he's only had one fight. He's only had one fight where the other person was close to his size, and that was Max Holloway height.
Yep.
One of the most amazing things he's done is he's found a way to always, it's not like he picked them because they were in front of him, but he's always managed to fight guys that are physically a lot smaller than him. And so somehow he goes in and he's like, if you just close your eyes and you just listen to some things he says, you're like, this guy's just like the bully, right? He's the schoolyard bully that everyone gets bullied. But he somehow spun the narrative that he was the poor little skinny fucker that was bullied by the kids in Ireland. And now he's just going out here and he's fighting this insurmountable things and he's overcoming these odds. It's like, but then you look at it and you're like, what the hell? How does he keeps getting to fight these guys that are smaller? And it's not like
Diaz. He fought Diaz.
Well, Diaz
was bigger.
But then that they said he was 300 pounds and 7 feet tall. But it's like, and it's not like he's doing it on purpose, right? Because Eddie Alvarez just happened to become the lightweight champion at the perfect time for Conor.
I think there has been some things that have happened for him that have made for good matchups. Now, the reality of the situation is he doesn't control that Eddie Alvarez beats Rafael dos Anjos.
Yeah, like he was going to fight whoever, but it helped him.
He was going to beat dos Anjos.
Yeah.
Watching him now.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, oh, my goodness. After I saw dos Anjos do what he did to Anthony Pettis, I was like, there's no way Conor beats him.
Yeah.
Conor was going to demolish Rafael dos Anjos in that fight. And I like dos Anjos. But after watching what Tony Ferguson did to him, he was cutting too much weight to get to 55. He's better at 70. But Conor would have been a nightmare for him.
Yeah, but
there aren't many bad matchups for him.
But think about when Conor fought Aldo, the size difference was about the same as when Conor fought Nate. And you look at how it was billed was like, I mean, obviously Aldo's Aldo. So Conor's fighting this legend. It was never like, well, he's a lot bigger than him. You know, it was like, well, he's a lot less experienced. Like this if he's gonna knock off one of the Mount Rushmore of MMA, and then
Aldo hadn't lost in 10 years, Nick.
Yeah, which is then he goes and fights Nate, and it's like, and Nate's like top 5, 10. I mean, depending on the night, he's as good as anyone. But on other nights, he's maybe a top 5, top 10 guy instead of a top 1 or 2. But somehow Conor's just masterful at the narrative. He gets the narrative to where he's fighting a 170-pounder who probably can barely make 170 pounds. And Nate's sitting there going, dude, I fought every fucking fight at 155, and I fought like 2 fights at 170. What the fuck? And, it's amazing, like how he just, I don't know if he thinks all these things through, or I got to spend a decent amount of time with him when we sponsored him. And he was like, it just feels like he probably just sits there and just thinks about everything instead of, like, he just saw it as like, oh, fighting is one part of what I got to do, but the opportunity is, and then so, again, to his credit, to think all of it, then do it all, and then you can say what you want. Oh, that guy, oh, you fought a guy that was smaller. Dude, he's still taking out everyone in front of him. Whenever he's had a chance. So it's amazing.
And look, you know why Conor's special and why Conor has received the amount of praise and the amount of success that he's had, because Conor was not afraid to be an idiot. Imagine, Dennis, if when he started talking all this stuff, if he just got beat right away and everybody put him in his place. Like some people thought he would.
Yeah.
They said he couldn't fight a wrestler, and he beat Chad Mendez. They said, well, there's no way he's beating Aldo. They gave him an interim title just to make him the champ. Starches Aldo in 13 seconds.
Yeah.
It was like, well, there's no way he's going to win the 155-pound title.
Yeah.
demolishes Eddie, hits him with the death punch. Every time he hit Eddie Alvarez fell down. But he always said it. And it's like when you start to talk like that, if you don't back it up, people will laugh at you because they're waiting for your fall.
Yeah.
It kind of just never fell.
And he's never given any indication that he doesn't believe it. Like, it's not like they're not like, it doesn't look like someone's up there going, oh, he's just talking shit because someone told him, hey, talk shit. It just looks like I mean, there was I don't know if it was Errol Hawani. Someone had a thing that was like, this is a weird fight. If you go watch Conor and his guys train, he doesn't have any boxing guys in there. And they are absolutely baffled why the world doesn't see this as like just easy fight and like lopsided in his favor. Like they don't even understand what,
people like him,
why it wouldn't be easy for him. And then the
people
whole
like
rest
him.
of the world thinks like this is going to be impossible. But it's like that crazy, that self-belief of like,
him and his people believe. And also the reason the general public doesn't question him is because they like him. Once you get the fans on your side and they believe what you're selling, they'll follow you to the ends of the earth, man. I'm telling you. I remember watching Arturo Gatti go to war with Mickey Ward over and over. And then he became a big HBO guy. And then HBO matched him up with Floyd. And people started going, well, he's going to beat Floyd Mayweather. And I'm like, he's not. He just went tooth and nails with Mickey Ward, who is a quarter of the fighter that Floyd Mayweather is. But people believed, because people believed in Arturo Gatti. And I think that's what you have in Conor. He has managed to make people believe in him, and they follow him blindly, man. Look at my boy. My boy's behind me.
You know what
30 minutes, Pop.
What that reminds me of is I've always thought, like, the if there's an issue with the UFC, the issue is, so I'll admit, I discovered UFC on Tough One, right? Like, I was watching The Contender, and then I had a buddy who was like, if you like The Contender, you got to see this Tough One. I was living in Vegas, and I was like, what's that? He's like, oh, it's this Ultimate Fighter show. The finale's tonight. They're showing the whole thing. And I sat there, and I watched every episode, and then I watched the live finale of Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner.
You were in love.
I was like, holy shit. But what happened from that is, like it was a manageable amount of guys to keep track of for me, right? I was new coming into it. And it's like, oh, I want to see Koscheck fight Liebman. I don't fucking care if they're the two best welterweights in the world. I just want to see them fight each other. And that was what it was. That was kind of what it reminded me with Mayweather and McGregor. Is like, I think one of the commentators is like, look, this is not a Floyd Mayweather fight we're used to, where it's like the most technically, like, the best display of boxing ever. And obviously with Conor in here, it's not, world-class boxing, but it's a hell of an entertaining fight. And it was like, dude, like, it's hard because you want people to do, but like, I feel like that's what we need more of, where it's like, I mean, a belt matters, but like, we want to see people we know fight each other so that we care one way or the other. I mean, because Conor also, people love him, but then people, because he's so brash, they want to see him lose, and he just realizes, I don't care. Like, that's more people watching me. So you need, like, that's a little bit there's so many guys now that it's hard to keep track of. It's hard to figure out, like, who doesn't like who, because they call each other out. Then we don't hear from them for another 9 months. They don't really tell us about the guys anymore.
It moves too fast. It moves really fast, right? So,
dude, they can drop it down right now to 10 guys per weight class.
They
shouldn't do this because a lot of fighters obviously would be unemployed. But as a fan, if they said, hey, we're going to have 12 guys per weight class, that's it for next year. And the only way you get in is when one guy gets out. We'll drop a couple if they're not performing. And you would know.
That doesn't work, Nick. We'd have to fight every month.
Why?
Because 12 guys in a weight class?
Well, how many would that be? Let's see.
Nick.
5 fights a year.
Well, that's only 7 weight classes. What are you trying to do, bud? That's only 84 guys on the roster.
Well, then
how many fights do we need? You guys fight. If everyone fights 3 times a year.
There are 13 fights a night in the UFC.
Well, we don't need 13 fights, first of all. We need we could get away with like 7 or 8.
You do like the Russians, do group fighting, and then,
Nick is out of his mind.
Well, what are the first ones for? Like, the first ones are for the people in the arena to see. Like, I mean, like, we should have less fights, and we should know more about the guys, because a fight is a fight. It doesn't matter. Like, if you go watch basketball, right? You can't say, hey, I'm gonna start a beer league basketball, and I'm gonna put it on TV, because everyone will be like, dude, like, the skill level is so much different than the best, and like, it's just so sloppy. But a fight, there's obviously a drop off between the best fighters in the world and like two guys fighting in a parking lot, but like it's still you still can't turn away when two guys are fighting in the parking lot, especially if you know one of them.
Especially if you're driving them home.
Yeah, I mean, I might if I know one of them as I'm running away, I might be looking over my shoulder. What the fuck? I hope he wasn't counting on me to back him up. But
the early fights are for their families. A lot of people's families. That's who's in the arena early. But these guys that you watch in the early fights, they become stars. I remember watching Stipe Miocic as a curtain jerker. I remember when Kane fought Ben Rothwell, the very first fight of the night was Chael Sonnen. You know, so
yeah, why can't they have like promotion relegation like soccer? Why can't they have a minor league and then the champion of the minor league gets to a couple guys fall down, a couple guys go up. I just think they got to do a better job of like
building stars like they used to.
Yeah,
because
like,
well, you know when you know how you see that at its best is that now pay-per-view main events have to be championships. Before you used to get those fights where there was no title on the line and two guys were main eventing pay-per-views because they were just draws and stars, even though they weren't champions. But nowadays it's hard to do that because of so much content and so many fights.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah, I mean,
it's different. It's a different time, but I mean, you got to understand that even boxing now is starting to flood the market with fights because they need content. Stations need content, and you have to give out live sports is the biggest draw in the world. You know, so when a company can get live sports, they go crazy. So for Fox, the UFC is golden. There's so much content the UFC pushes out. Fox loves it. Now with the PBC boxing, have you ever heard of Al Heyman?
Yeah.
Look up Al Heyman on the internet. There's one photo of Al Heyman ever. He never was photographed. But then Saturday, Floyd hugged him, and they actually showed him on video. It's the first time Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Broner, all these guys that he managed. He's controlled boxing for 10 years, but never is videoed. But this weekend, he lets himself be videoed. Now, you saw Floyd kind of wave at him like, no, turn the cameras off. But that never happened with him before. Nick, I'm going to send you a video here, and you'll get to see it. But I don't understand what was going on with Heyman, why he allowed for him to be filmed like that, because he never does, man. Al Heyman is
you know what else is crazy? Speaking of
he's
never,
the man.
No one's ever bet on Floyd and lost.
Oh, that's true.
That's crazy. Well, that's interesting. So for my bet, if we wanted him just to win no matter what, it was minus 450. So which betting tricks you into? So we took minus 275 and we said forget it, we'll give up the decision. But like if you just bet on Floyd, anyone in the whole world that's ever bet on Floyd to win in the last 20 years has never lost.
If you bet him straight.
If you bet him straight to it.
Not if you bet him straight.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty safe bet even